Okay, it's story time. So, I'm going to say this and take this as a general. Like, if I open this book as I'm reading a story, not as I'm literally interpreting it, nor taking one side or another. That is my disclaimer before I start talking. Okay, the Bible. You've got God, and then you got the devil. Now just picture them as people. Okay. God is God. He is the king. That's how it goes. The devil, he wanted to do things his way. So he got kicked out of the kingdom of God, his kingdom, and ended up reigning his own kingdom that God assigned him. So there's a sign of mercy. He didn't kill the devil. He literally said, okay, this is your place, right? And the way you want to do things don't necessarily, we can't really do things like that, wrathfully and just vengeance very fast. And the way you want to do, burn it to the ground. So we're going to give you this little area right here that you will be the king of, but you are no God. Because remember, the devil was an angel, so still an entity, but not a god, just a king of hell. So what is hell? Hell is basically a prison. What is it a prison for? For really, really bad people that deserve to be there. And what is the devil? Well, the devil is the warden, and he makes sure that those bad people, that they suffer in that prison. So now let's just take a step back. So, what if you read throughout all the stories and you just put in your mindset that you're going to look at both sides of things, okay? For example, like religious wars. I'm not going to dive into the Bible, but there are a series of wars that go on throughout the Bible. And if you taking one side and just saying, oh, we did this in the name of God, like, yeah, you're going to read it in a certain way and have a certain point of view about it. But maybe if you go through each section and you're like, okay, they went to war with an idea that they were led by the right leader to do work that was prophesized. The word prophecy has the word prophet in it. So think about that. I mean, these wars, there was always a prophet. There was always a king getting land or money being made or some type of power being imposed. A prophet. And a prophet, as in just the word or the definition of, whatever the oracle or whoever came up with this idea, was just kind of like this weird little scapegoat that they used to be like, oh, he has a connection with one of those entities, so whatever he says must be true. And then the leader takes that and uses that idea to, do whatever they do with that. So anyway, you go through the chapters and then you start to get to, parts like, I've read a couple things, I like Songs of Solomon, and I'm not a religious person. It's just, they're just good ways to be if you don't take them literally, if you just Like, be human. So what I'm getting at is like for example, like walking on water. Like, I mean, if you take that literally, like walking on water, like you just not you're missing the point. Is that the whole thing? If you literally just deep dive into every word, instead of being religious and just believing what it is, and like just reading it and being like, what are they saying here, really? Like, let's break it down to a term where I can associate that both mentally, spiritually, and physically all together. Like, how would I be able to walk on water? Just break it down. It could be multiple ways. I mean, maybe like the tide is low and you were able to walk out deep into the, whatever. Or, maybe he's talking about, timing or inventing or using the brain to be creative to get around the physics of everyday life. Who knows what Jesus was trying to say? Because honestly, I believe that Jesus was just a man way, 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 way far beyond his time, and he just thought in a certain way, and he was not afraid to express that, even to the fact that he knew that his life would be in jeopardy and eventually end. See, that's the point of the story. The point of the story is that you got this man who gathered a bunch of people that were broken or felt from the outside or were struggling or whatever it is that they were going through, and he bound them together. And to me, that's super godly, but I don't really consider him a god. I think he's a man before his time, and that's why he got killed, is because he was a threat. He was a shining light amongst the darkness and just the lack of thought or consideration or just fear of experimentation and just fear of being different or being called out or pointed out or casted away. So he was a man that went far beyond those bounds, and he lost his life for it. And I believe if he got a chance to do it again, he would definitely do it again, over and over and over and over again. And the point I'm getting to is that that's what the story really means. It's like, dude, be you and love and express and be peaceful. Do not be afraid to defend yourself, and do not be afraid to defend others for a right, for a good cause, for good reason, not for a selfish cause, for a greater cause, beyond yourself. What it means to be godly is to be beyond yourself, is to put everyone else before you. And I mean, that sounds super crazy to do. I get it. Like, we like our shiny things, our fast cars, and sometimes we lose our shit. I lose my shit all the time. It's terrible. Like, it is what it is. I am human. But in the end, like, all we really got to do is just, bro, be true to ourselves and be, true to others to the 100% max. And I get it. And we live in a world where not everyone is capable of that. Like, some people, they live in their own selfish world. It's about them. It's about what they get, about billions and billions and $1 that'll never be spent, or, having so much so that everyone can just like look at it and gawk, like that feeling of like being like, oh, look what I have. You know what I mean? Whatever the psychology is behind it. All I'm saying is people are like, "Oh, do you worship the devil? Do you worship God? Do you worship, like I read about tons of different religions and different entities and stuff like that. These stories are not written by entities, you understand? These stories are written by us, like people. People created these stories, and not because they're based on any type of like solid evidence that they exist. It's like the artistic mind creating an evaluation of the world it sees around them, and then creating these entities and these characters to describe certain people that they may or may not have come across or never hope to or to come across. They're stories, they're books, they're meant to be read, they're meant to be pondered upon, about thought about. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, at the end of this book, like, there's a guy in the sky and a guy in a burning place, and I need to do nice things, because if I don't, I'm going to go to the burning guy. But if I do, I'm going to go to the place in the sky where it's nice and fluffy. Like, that's not what it is. You're not supposed to be doing things just because you're afraid that at the end of your life you're going to end up in a bad or good place. You should be living your life now in a good place. And if you're in a bad place, it means, it's either through circumstances, like you can't help but be born into poverty, you know what I mean? And sometimes that causes a certain mindset, or be born in a rural area or wherever you are born. Like, there's, nature versus nurture and whatnot. So I understand. It's like, it's a concept that's just, bro, I don't ever see it happening, because I guess, it is what it is. Everyone can't be the same. So, and that's fine. And we're not all the same. But I mean, we could just have like a same general rule. Like, I do what I do, you do what you do, and you do what you do and you believe in. And whatever you're into, just, do that, and don't worry about what I'm into. Don't worry about my family. You worry about yours, type thing. And if I do worry about your family, it's like on a physical level, like, your well-being, not like, you know what I mean? Hey, let's go grab some food together and we have to have a big old dinner together. That's not what I mean by getting along. I mean getting along by just, don't cut someone off on the highway because they're going a little bit under the speed limit. Maybe they don't know where they're going. Or, don't get angry and lose your shit on the, the old lady that is standing in front of you counting her change. Like, you don't know her mental state. Like, maybe the thing I'm trying to get to is, can we just like be a little more considerate? Like, just consider your environment. Just, that's it. Like, anytime you decide you're going to make a decision, whatever it is, just take 3 seconds. Take like 3 seconds. I know this is very hard to do because I have super big difficulties doing it. Just take 3 seconds. And just think. I'm not the only person around me. And again, we're not all the same because it shows out through history. So maybe I don't know what that person's going through, or how that person feels, or how that person's day went, or, whatever high horse or low horse that they're mounted on. You understand? Like, just be considerate. That's like, and this is something that I really struggle with, because I see it all the time, and then when it happens to me, I tweak out. Like, I tweak out on the person. And I don't know if it's me trying to be righteous or something. It's just me, bro. Like, you don't like see someone get out of their car and then run up behind them and then go through the door and get online, like, you know, run in front of them so that you're first, like, dude. Or like, for example, you see someone that's trying to get into a parking spot and you like speed up and then pull into the spot. I mean, things like that. Those little itty bitty details. They really the things that show exactly who you are. Like, I'm telling you, the way you drive, they tell a lot about you. Like, for example, holding a door for an old lady, um slowing down when there's kids playing. I mean, these little things, they say a lot about who you are. So if you really want to talk about the Bible and stories and all this stuff, then maybe you should look at the little details, because the little details is what the story is, and the little details is what tells us who and who you aren't.